Hi, I'm Pat. I'm the Assistant Curator of Education here at the Lakeshore Museum Center, and we're going to be starting a new web series for you Facebook followers of us. For our first experiment, what we're going to look at today is we're going to be looking at a Cartesian Diver experiment. And what this experiment relates to is density and pressure as well. Now for this experiment, you're going to need a few simple things. You're going to want some water. You need to go to your local fast food restaurant and find some sauce packets. And also you're going to need an empty plastic bottle.
Now, what is density? Density is a measurement. It is the mass or the weight of an object divided by its volume or the amount of space that it takes up.
For example, the most common thing when we think about density is water. Water's density is 1, so things that are heavier than that density will sink in water, and things that are lighter will float in that water. Now, the first thing that we're going to need to find for our experiment today is we're going to need to find a sauce packet that's actually going to float in the water. You want it to float just right. You don't want it to float too high or too low. You just got to have it just right. So let's test out some of our packets and see if we have the right one.
So drop our first one in, and you see that it sinks to the bottom, so that one's not going to work. Let's try our second packet. And you see that's going to float a little too well. You don't want it to float that well. You want it to float a little bit lower. See, that one's going to float way too well. That's not going to work. Our next packet, this once again is going to sink. And then our final packet, you're going to see is just going to kind of hover right in the middle there, so that is going to be perfect for our experiment. Now if you find you don't have a packet that works for this, you can always go to your local fast food restaurant and try to grab a few packets there and see if you get one that works for you.
Now, once you find the right packet, what you're going to do is you're going to take your bottle and you want to fill it almost up to the top. Once you have that, you're going to take your packet, go ahead and put it inside your bottle, and then take your extra water that you have and fill it all the way up to the top. You don't want any extra air in there. And once you fill it up, make sure you screw on that cap really tight because you don't want any water leaking out. And then what you're going to see is that when you squeeze this packet, that air bubble that's inside of there that's actually letting it float is actually going to be compressed.
So let's look at our packet. You can see we've got our air bubble in the top, and we squeeze our bottle, we're actually going to condense that pocket of air in there, and that's actually going to increase our density because we have a smaller space, but we have the same amount of weight. And you can see when you release the bottle then, the air bubble goes back to its original size, and the packet will rise back up to the top. So if you look at it, you can see I'm squeezing that bubble, it's causing the packet to sink. When I stop squeezing, the packet will rise back up as that air bubble expands back to its original volume. So you can see this property in action. If you hold it just right, it'll actually stay right at the midway point there, where you just increase the density just enough so it's about the same as water.
Now this is kind of a really fun thing. What you can do is you can impress your friends with this experiment as well if you don't tell them how it works. You kind of take it up there and you say, I can make this move with just my mind. Just going to look at it and they'll be amazed. I hope you enjoyed this experiment, and we will see you later for our next one.